Hi everyone, Tim here at Pacific Coast Trains. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'll be converting an electric toothbrush into a mini sander that I can use to work on some of the projects that I have upcoming. So with that, let's dive in. There are a number of videos that explain how to do this, so I thought I would take a shot at doing my own. I started off with a CVS electric toothbrush kit. It was about $10. And the reason I paid the extra couple of bucks is because I wanted the multiple heads, which come as part of it. I'll use those to create different size sanding heads for my projects. In some of the cases, sanding in between the ribs, some of the rib spacing between the ribs gets pretty narrow on some of the cars, especially in the sort of side grab iron portions of boxcars. So I thought some of these additional heads might give me some flexibility to make some smaller heads for sanding. So let's tear the package open and see what we've got. So the first step is to take some of the heads and just start pulling out some of the bristles. I'm using a pair of needle nose pliers, and just a little bit of force and some rotation, you can pull these things out. I suppose you could cut them if you want, but I really don't want any of the pieces coming back out onto the model surface, and they tend to come out pretty easily with a little bit of pulling, but it's not too bad. Once these are all out, then we can go ahead and shape the head down to a size that I'm going to want to work with. All right, so I've plucked out all of the nylon from the head. It's still just a little bit rough here, and we've got pretty good tactile surface. The next thing is to get some double-sided sticky tape and apply it to that, and then use the Velcro kind of hook and loop attachments to create a surface on which the sandpaper can be adhered. All right, so I'm done plucking out all the nylon from 3 different heads, and I'm going to put different grits on each of those 3 heads. I also use my Dremel to shape one of the dental floss picks, which normally look like this. Sorry for that, wiggling around. But I have cut one down to a nice small rectangular area that I'm going to be able to use in between ribs. Really at the end of boxcars is kind of what I'm thinking, right? The spacing between some of the end ribs where the grab irons go is a little bit narrower than a lot of the other panels. This, as you can see, is pretty small. Here's a pair of needle nose pliers for a comparison, right? That sort of width should be able to pretty easily fit in between those even narrow posts, and sort of going up and down will help me smooth out those areas once I carve off some grab irons. That's the idea anyway. So next is to take some double-sided tape and some Velcro to create the pads, and then we'll cut out some sort of hook and loop sanding disc, different grits to add to each of these. They'll be interchangeable, but because I've got 3 different heads, I'll go ahead and put a different grit size on each of those, tape some masking tape around each to label them, and then I can use them. I can swap out the pads when they get full and dirty, and don't have to change out each time I want to change grits. So that's the plan. Let's go ahead and put all that together. Okay, so I think we're at the end of this project. I've gone ahead and attached some different sizes of pads onto my Velcro. You can see the sort of Velcro underneath there, and there's the hook and loop sandpaper. So I've got a pad that's about a centimeter square. I've got this little tiny one, and then I've got one that's kind of in between. And you can see that it's a little smaller than the pad, but because it sticks up, I think I'll be able to kind of run this down between the ribs and be able to smooth some areas with that. So depending on the size of the area I'm working on, if it's sort of a whole car side, if it's kind of in between some tight ribs and in between some more standard ribs, I should be okay. So that's the end of that, pretty easy. Still have a whole host of other heads that I can modify for smaller pads. So yeah, looking forward to trying it out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for watching, everybody.